Espanhol ou francês? Espanhol. Jamaica.
O inglés.
Nas minoritárias. Inglês? Todos?
¿Puedo hacer inglés, francés o español? ¿Español?
Inglês. Porque senão há alguém que não percebe.
¿Inglés?
Todos entendem inglês, não? Toda a gente conversar fala inglês.
O hacemos traducción simultánea.
Sim, e comigo, não? Eu sou... Eu só quero... Estou aqui para apresentar a Blanca, depois vou deixá-la aqui a dirigir a sua masterclass. Ela apresenta-se melhor que eu, mas realmente a ideia de ter trazido a Blanca ali tem a ver com todo o trabalho que ela tem tido, não só na dança, que tem sido das coreógrafas e dançarinas mais importantes neste momento na Europa, com espetáculos em praticamente toda a Europa, inclusive tendo estado à frente do Teatro de Berlim, onde dirigiu alguns espetáculos bastante polémicos. E, além disso, também com a sua ligação ao cinema. Foi coreógrafo de alguns filmes, entre alguns filmes de Jean-Jacques Hano e outros, e também foi realizadora de um filme sobre que ela mesmo falará dele, do filme, que ela com a diretora de filme. E, portanto, penso que dentro da ideia deste festival era uma das pessoas que eu gostaria que ela me falasse da questão da dança e do cinema. Portanto, graças por. Thank you for being here. I let you now, I present you in a very resumed way, and I prefer you now to take
So I speak in English, yes? My English is very Spanish, but it's English. In Spain we say, una imagen vale más que 1000 palabras. So that means that one image is worth lots of words. So I would like to start maybe to introduce myself, of course, as a choreographer, because many people know me as a choreographer, but not so many people know me as a film director. So I would like to show you maybe just a little thing to introduce myself. ¿Enseñas? No hemos preparado nada.
Sim, ensina.
Sí. ¿Tú tienes el menú?
Tenho esse. É o primeiro?
El primero.
Então.
¿Se puede quitar los numeritos abajo? Claro, si quieres. It's possible to put maybe the volume lower. We let the things go so you can see more. So we can talk at the same time. This is just me in the airports very often when I have to take a plane. I spend so much time traveling, going to the airports that I decided to do this film. So the other things you will see is a lot about the things I do in the choreography for video clips and publicity, and a lot for cinema also. Some of them I made myself, I directed. Some others I work with directors like Michel Gondry, that I work a lot with him. I really love. We did Daft Punk together, which was a big success, and since then we're working a lot together. Every time he has some dance in a clip, he calls me, and we love to work together. This was my first long film. It's all with hip hop dancers. I did a film with 150 dancers in Paris, and it was a beautiful experience. So this film, for me, was my beginning really as a film director in long movie, and now I hope it's going to go on. So I don't know if I can talk a lot, but maybe it's better that you ask me questions. If there is something particularly that you would like me to say. If you don't want to do it in English, you can do it in Portuguese. I understand, but I cannot talk in Portuguese.
They want to
Listen.
listen.
There is nothing especially you want to know about. Okay. So the thing is, why I started to work on cinema is something that I didn't know it would happen in my life, because it was not planned for me. I was a choreographer, and I always danced since I was 12 years old. So my life was more like dance. But the thing is that I started to work into publicity because I have a lot of problems to keep my dance company together because we didn't have money. So I found out that I could work as a choreographer in publicity, make more money, so I could pay my dancers for the dance company. So the first time I did the publicity, it was for Perrier, for water, and I really had a lot of fun. I didn't know I would have so much fun, but I loved it. And I was working with a great director. His name is Tarsem. He's one of the biggest directors of publicity, and for me it was a great experience. And I thought, oh, this is so fun to work in cinema, and I can do choreographies of 1 second or 2 seconds, which I never did before, because normally you do choreographies of 1 hour for theater, no? But in publicity you have to invent something that will last 1 second or 2. So that was for me like already like a big change. And then I started to work with many other directors doing a lot of publicity. And little by little, I was more and more near the director, I found myself proposing ideas, finding solutions, and inviting choreographies more and more for the camera. Not so much like I was doing for the theater, but already thinking of the point of view of a camera which is completely different from the point of view of a person sitting in a theater. So this became like a drug to me. Little by little it came into my veins, and then I wanted more and more and more. Then I did this video clip with Michel Gondry that was so successful, and I started to do more video clips like for Blur and other groups. And one day I decided I want to start doing my own stuff, and then I did this short movie that you just saw. And from then I was doing more. This was also from my film. I was doing more and more cinema, working a lot with directors, because I like also, for me, I always say that I never went to school to learn cinema. I learned near many different directors, and every time I work in a film I learn something, and I take it always like a class for me. So this was my studies in cinema. And then when I decided to write a film, I wanted since very long time to make a musical comedy. Musical, we say in English, no? en français on dit comédie musicale, mais en anglais, in English it's a musical. Because I grew up in Spain at the beginning, when I was little, it was still a dictatorship with Franco. They only put in the television films that will have no compromise at all with any religion, politics, or whatever. And of course, the easiest was to put a lot of musical, like, you never have a problem no singing in the rain, all of that. So I was always looking at these films because they put them all the time on the television, and for me, it was like a dream because I love so much dancing, so I love very much all these films. It was for me always a source of inspiration in all my shows also. But I found that for cinema there is a lot that they did in these musicals that is fantastic. It was a moment where I think choreographers had the right to dream and make their dreams reality, which is very difficult today. If you want to do a musical today as a director, it's very, very difficult because the producers don't understand really what musical is. They don't understand that you need to rehearse. They don't understand that you need to spend more time in the filming than just like a normal scene of comedy. Because when you have all these dancers in a set, you have to rehearse with the cameras, you have to rehearse with the dancers, you have to make sure that everything is alright before you say action. And this is time, this is money, and of course, this is the kind of things that we don't have anymore today. So I always when I look at these musicals from old times, I say they were so lucky that they could just invite a swimming pool with 300 people jumping in, and they will construct the swimming pool and jump in. And so for us today, for choreographers today, to make a musical is much more difficult. But first of all, because nobody believes anymore really in dance. So for me to do this film was a big thing because I wanted to do a musical, but with hip-hop dancers. Because I thought the hip-hop is the dance that they didn't have in Hollywood at the time. So I thought, why not to reinvent the musical, but with the dance of today, which is so much this dance, and that I work so much with hip-hop dancers. So this was for me a great experience. I had the chance to work with the best dancers in France that I auditioned, all of them, and they let me go all the way and do the choreographies really the way I felt. I had to lie a little bit to my producer to be able to make the film. I told him it will be not so much dance in the film. So I wrote in the script the dance scenes because we had also one of the televisions, no? So they were always supervising the script. And if I write too much dance in the script, then they tell me, no, the story is not good enough and you have to work on the story. And so at the end, I had many of the dance scenes that last 4 minutes in the film with just one sentence in the script. Because this way I knew it was dance, but they didn't. So this was a little bit the way I could manage to make them believe that it will be not so much dance in the film and that I could make the film. At the end, the film has 45 minutes of dance, which I love. And in France, it came out, it was 300,000 people came to see the film, which was a big success, but I never got to do it, show it, for example, in Spain, because they think that hip-hop in Spain will not be something that people will buy. So it's still a problem to sell a film. Even though you get to do it, it's very difficult after to sell it and to show it to people, because it's, for some reason, dance today, unless it comes like from Chicago, the big musicals from America. But, you know, it's difficult. But I believe that still there is a lot to do in dance and in cinema. And I think we can see especially a lot of dance in the television, in MTV. I mean, practically all the singers today have dancers on tour. They have dancers in every clip. I think the dance is very strong in this moment, and we choreographers have the chance to bring it to cinema, because in every clip, behind every musical clip with every artist, there is a choreographer, and there is somebody inviting the steps and making rehearsals. And the problem that I see, and that's the reason I wanted to do my own films, is that many times when I work for directors as a choreographer, I create something, but then the way they film it sometimes is very frustrating because many directors also do not understand really the movement and don't know really what the point of view for dance is. And this sometimes can be very frustrating, so that's why I decided to do my own films. But I still work with many directors, so it's really a pleasure for me to work still with Gondry because he's one of the directors that knows much about dance and about movement. Some of the things you see are publicities, of course. This is like the... but for me, what is good about publicity is because it's a very good school. I can use some of the machineries and things that you cannot use in cinema because it's expensive. In publicity, things happen fast, and you have sometimes access to things that you will not have in a film, and you can test. It's like a good test for things if you want to try something, if you want to learn something. Also to choose teams that have never worked with you before. It's always fun for me to do publicity. you want to ask me something?
How do you nowadays kind of combine both the work in dance with films like feature films or kind of fiction cinema and publicity? How those three kind of hang out together every day and every month? I don't know.
Well, because the things never happen really at the same time, and it's a question of planning. Also, if I am on tour with my dance company and they call me to do a film and I'm not available, I don't do it. And I try always to organize in a way that I can do the things, but one after the other, of course. And if I'm doing a film and I cannot go on tour, I don't go on tour. So it's the thing is that the difference is because in live shows, you have the planning normally 1 year or 2 years in advance. The theaters always program things very long in advance. This is the famous Daft Punk clip. You always have 1 year and a half, the dates of the tour and all that. So this gives me also the space to do other projects. And if I'm gonna prepare like a feature film, like when I did my film, I blocked a whole year just for that, and I decided not to go on with the company for this year to do my film. So I'm of course always on the road. I'm always very busy and I'm always working. I'm a workaholic. I love to work day and night, but I always try to do things in a concentrated way, not to get like dispersed. This was very nice because I had 20 dancers in this clip, and each group of dancers belongs to a different style. So I had some like classical dancers, some contemporary dancers, some hip hop dancers, and it was very nice because everybody was like learning from the others, and that lasted like a week, but it was a very funny experience for many of the people that were in this film.
So could I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Did you left the regular stage of dance, or do you still have projects on that?
Oh no! I have a dance company, and we are touring all year long. I just come from Madrid Autumn Festival with a show we've been playing for 1 week. I also dance still on stage, and next week I'm going to Barcelona with another show, and we just spent all the summer playing for 1.5 months in a festival also. I never stopped my dance company. It is for me, my dance company is very important because it's my base, in my dance company, you don't need so much money like for cinema, so you are much more free. You have a real freedom space because nobody makes money with dance, so this is great. In cinema, there is always a problem because you have to discuss a lot. You have producers, you have televisions, you have all these things, and this is a lot of pressure also. And you not always do exactly what you want. You have to do a lot of dealing, no? A dance company is totally the opposite. It's like you have nobody to tell you what to do because nobody cares, really. Basically, dance is not a business. So this is great. You have artistically, you are alone. You do really what you want from A to Z. And this is, for me, it's important to have this space of freedom, even though I want to go on with cinema and do cinema, but I think I really need my space in dance, that I know that I will always do what I want. Because in cinema there is a lot of concessions I think you have to do. I think all the directors have to go through a lot of, except maybe Pedro Almodóvar, which is probably the only film director that has total freedom and his own production company, and he does what he wants, but it's very difficult to get to that point, and I don't think it's many directors, even very famous directors, that can go so much to do what they want.
You said that the point of view of camera went through your veins.
Yeah.
Putting them in comparison, the regular stage and the point of view of camera, artistically, aesthetically, do you prefer any of them, or they are not to be compared?
No, they are not to be compared, because I realize that dance for cinema is like another profession. It's not the same really, because when you stage something, you have a square, empty square. The theater is very plain. Audience sits here and you have the stage, and it's like a square, and you have to make always your dreams in a square space, but you always have, the public have always the same point of view. So the only way you can drive them to your point of view is through the lighting, through the music, through the movement, you have to always find a way to direct the attention. In cinema, what is good, and it's totally different, is that you decide with the camera the point of view, so you can put all of a sudden the point of view in the shoe, or in an eye, so this is very interesting for choreography, because the same way you can put the point of view into a concrete movement, or into just like a jest, or but it's really like another profession. I had to learn all that because I didn't know at the beginning. So little by little, you understand how camera can move also with the movement of dance, and this is also very rich, because moving the camera at the same time that you are creating a movement can create some other movement that is also very interesting. No, I think really the cinema is another profession, and dance in cinema is something else than staging. You need to learn.
Did you ever actually pick up a book or a course on this? Or?
Well, as I say before, I was for 8 years, 9 years working a lot with many directors. So I didn't pick up actually a book, but I was always like, in cinema you have a lot of dead time. You're always waiting for something. So I was never waiting for anything. I was like talking with the machinery. How you say the man that moved the camera? He explained me, how you do this, show me, and I was touching everything. And then I was always like using that time to learn, to talk to people. And then after that, when I decided that I wanted to do cinema, then I picked up a book, of course. But at the beginning, no.
Do you have any project now working on?
I just finished a documentary I did from in my last show that I created. It's a show with contemporary singers and contemporary dancers, and the whole show was a very interesting happening between these two kind of people, because the contemporary singers use their voice to work, and the dancers use their body. So the whole show, it's about that. The singers dance and the dancers sing. So the work lasted for 3 months, and during these 3 months, I was filming every day the way everybody was going into this new creation until the day of the premiere. So now I'm finishing this documentary, and I have written a second musical that I hope I could do after I finish the documentary.
When we see the first short movie, we have the impression that you are like a really character from the comic character of Jacques Tati, or even some great
bit like that in real life, so it's not very difficult for me to play that. But it's true that I have a comic way of moving, but it's maybe because my body. I always talk through my body more than through my mouth, because dance is my way of expression, and I can say many things through the movement. And also, I like a lot to make people laugh. So this, I do it very often in my shows. When I do my shows with my dancers, there is always a lot of humor. Well, not always, but often there is a lot of humor. And so in my cinema, many times there is this kind of humor. And I rather do it with my body, with my movement, than with words. That's why also, again, it's very difficult for me to write a script, because my humor is not so much in the words, but in the gestures. And when you try to explain that also to a producer, it's very difficult to tell him, the people is very obsessed now about the scripts. I don't know, it's terrible for somebody like me. It's a pity, because I'm sure that Charlotte or many of the great directors in the cinema muet, they didn't have to write scripts. They just have like ideas, and then I don't know why today everything is concentrated in the script. If it has to be funny, you can explain even with images that you could do this kind of movements that you cannot write, but people don't understand. So they want you to be fun in talking, but I don't like that. I rather be fun with my body, and this is really a problem. This was the first publicity I made. That's what opened me to the world of cinema. So yeah, it's really difficult because I really like to use the expression of the body to talk, and I think you can say many things just with the look, no, or with just like you can talk a lot, no, with your eyes, with your body. You can show all kind of expressions. You can make people understand why we always have to write everything in a script. It's a pain. I think many people have the same problem, no? Probably. Is there any dancers here or not? No?
No dancers?
Oh. You also do cinema or just dance? You do contemporary dance. How is it in Portugal, the contemporary dance? Difficult, like everywhere. This was also Michel Gondry. That was a publicity we did for Gap. You can recognize, I think, Michel Gondry, no? He's always very...
And you teach as well, or you your dancers, or you take dancers that are, how you pick your troupe, your dancers, your things and everything? Because you saw them, you work with them, you go in.
Well, I normally do the auditions for dancers. When I need dancers for the company, I do open auditions, and then we do, in general, a classical class, a ballet class, because with ballet I can see more or less the base that people have, and then we do more contemporary dance. Unless I'm looking for hip-hop dancers, in this case I do a hip-hop audition, which has nothing to do with ballet or contemporary. But in this moment I have 3 shows on tour, which are completely different. One which is this one with contemporary dancers and contemporary musicians. Another one which is all with hip-hop dancers. And then I have a third one that is on tour, which is with flamenco, contemporary and hip-hop dancers, which is very funny, and it's with flamenco singers too. So even in my shows, I'm very eclectic. I'm not so just like contemporary or. I like to change. I like to reinvent myself, and that's why also cinema I like very much, because in cinema you can be very different. You can change. You can tell different stories, and it gives you a lot of freedom also to create. No, and for me, creation is always very important.
Start in Paris or
Cinema or dance?
Dance.
No, the dance. I started dancing when I was 12. I was at the national team of gymnastics, rhythmic gymnastics, you know, like with the balloon and ribbon, like this. And I was, until I was 15, I was in international competitions. Then I realized that I wanted to go into something more artistic than just competition. So I left to New York when I was 17 years, and I started studying modern dance there with at the school of Martha Graham, that was still alive, and I had the chance to be in the school while it was still her presence, and it was a very strong school with a great technique, and I think for me it was a chance to be there for 5 years and really study this technique. At the same time, in New York, I discovered many other things, because New York is a crazy city, and at the time I had many friends that were already studying cinema, musicians, and so we were always inviting things, doing things that ones for the others. For example, my sister, she's a film director too, and she was at the city school for cinema, and she studied there, so we were doing always short movies with her for her studies. And we did a group in New York that was a flamenco rap group, where we were singing rap and dancing and doing like a performance group. And with this group we had a lot of success, and then we went back to Spain, and we did a record with CBS at the time, and it was like a big success, like a flamenco rap group, just with girls, and this was my experience as a singer. Then I stayed some years in Madrid. I tried to put my first dance company together, and I realized that Madrid was not really the best place for dance. And I left to live in Paris. And then in Paris I realized that the dance was much more rich, because they had a politic for dance that they developed since 25 years, that it's very important, and that there is a lot of dance companies, there is a lot of theaters that program dance, and there is a system for the artists that doesn't exist anywhere else in Europe, which is called intermittent de spectacle. I don't know if you know what this is, which is something for all artists, even cinema and music and dance, that make artists have like a kind of situation economically that makes them work sometime in the year, and the rest of the year they are supported by this unemployment system, which makes that especially for things like dance, this is important, because the dancers and the companies can be more intermittent. Like if you have worked for 3 months, the dancers are not with nothing after, they can still live, and it permits to create a whole situation where people are really protected and helped, and this is very important for the arts in France, which is a system that unfortunately doesn't exist anywhere else in Europe, but we hope maybe one day it will exist some other places. No? It helps also the cinema people very much, because you know, if you make a movie, if you are an actor and you make a movie once a year or not, this kind of system can help you at least to survive between one film and the other, no? Which is not the case in Spain or here, I am sure. But these whole things help very much for companies to develop and to exist and to have a regular. It's blocked. It's blocked. So it helps very much the companies to exist. And then there is another thing that is very important in France, is that there is a lot of theaters and people, directors of theaters that co-produce dance companies. So if you have a dance company and you don't have money to make a show, you can go to talk to directors in theaters, and each one will put a little bit of money, the way that, and one will offer you maybe the theater to rehearse, another one will help you with little money, another one say, okay, I buy you 5 shows, and with all these little things, you can get together a company and work, which also is something that is very difficult to have, for example, in Spain. No? I don't know here, I imagine also it's maybe difficult to put a show together and get the money to rehearse, to pay the dancers, to perform, to travel. So France, I think, is a country that helps a lot the dance up to now, because we don't know what's going to happen now. Yeah.
I would like to ask you if you think, I see you do now in the commercials and films, you kind of do choreography with people not dancing or something, just with the day-and-day movements. Do you think it's possible to make a choreography of image without human movement? Only with is it really important for the dance to be a human dancer?
No, because I think this is also something I learned. And at the beginning, as a choreographer, you want always people moving. But the more that I do cinema, the more I learn that the choreography is not just people dancing, but a choreography is also a camera moving. It can be just as in reality, choreography is composition of the movement in the space. But it could be done with chairs. It can be done just with a car. It can be done with people not moving also. I think what is very interesting in the camera is that the camera has a movement also. So you can compose also a movement and a choreography just with the movement of the camera, not things moving maybe, or with objects, or with the space. I think choreography in cinema is very rich. It gives you a lot of possibilities that not necessarily needs dancers. And many times I also meet with people that are not dancers, just people that move. Or I think even in acting, you can choreograph the gestures, no? Because the way somebody looks, it's also important. It's not the same if you do like this or if you do like this, no? So I think choreography could also very much integrate the acting.
You did classical ballets and operas in Paris, Don Giovanni, William Tell, others, Shahrazad. Where is your sense of humor here? Where do you put the dancers doing hip hop?
Oh no, it depends. It depends on the project, because I don't mix everything just like that, not like in a mixer. No, it depends on the project.
You did the choreographs.
Yeah, it depends on the project, and also sometimes in opera I don't work alone. Sometimes I do staging, but sometimes I work also like in cinema with another director. And in these projects, it's somebody else's project. Like in cinema, you work as a choreographer, but you're working for a director. So you can give your point of view to the director, but it's not always exactly what you want to do, but what the director wants you to do. And this for me is a very good exercise too, because I like also to be in somebody else's mind, in somebody else's thinking, and try to understand what the other wants. And this is very good because you end up doing things that maybe you would have never done, but that can be very interesting. So as I do when I do choreographies for film, for other directors, they tell me what they want, and I propose things. And sometimes they don't like the first proposition, so you have to think of something else until you find out what he wants. And then you have to also understand how this person is going to film your dance. In opera, sometimes it's the same, because I work in many operas, and sometimes with directors that do the staging, and I just do the choreography. So sometimes they want one thing, and sometimes they want another. And in operas, there is somebody else that is very important. It's the orchestra director. So you have three people usually in opera that have to give their opinion. For example, I did Les Saints Galottes. It's a very important French opera, de Rameau, that is 3 hours opera. It's called opera ballet because at the time it's a Baroque opera. At the time it was always ballet in operas. So there's 1 hour of ballet and 2 hours of opera. And I have this director that was doing the staging of the part that was opera, and I was supposed to do the ballet, but we still had to find a way to do it together, because I could not just do my ballet on one side, and we had to agree many things. And with him it was very great, and he let me do very crazy stuff, and like I had a lot of ideas, and he let me go all the way, and it was great. But then one day I was rehearsing, and the orchestra director, which is William Christie, arrived, and he went like this in the rehearsal, and I thought, oh, what's happening? Oh my God, I was like, so shocked because it seems like he hated what I was doing. And I asked him, what's going on? Is there a problem? And he said, he can't stand the noise. So the thing is, he was not even looking at the choreography. He just couldn't support the dances going. You know, when you dance, you make noise because you jump and you go on the floor. And Barroca music is very delicate, the instruments. And you know, I was just rehearsing with the tape, you know, and the dancers were going, wah, wah, and dancing, a lot of energy. But he was, when he saw the rehearsal, he was already thinking of the opera. It was Garnier, which the sound is, you know, like, and his instruments and this delicate music and these dancers going like elephants. So I was like, I told him, okay, don't worry, I'm gonna fix this problem, okay? And so, since that day, all through the rehearsals, I will tell the dancers, you have to dance, but you don't have to make noise. And we go rehearsing, and you know, they end up jumping like we I don't know how we did, but at the end, the ballet was like, no noise. No noise. And then he loved it. He told me, I love it so much, but in fact, if they would have made one noise, he would just destroy my whole ballet and throw it to the garbage. So, you know, it's very important, sometimes when you work with people, what is also their sensibility towards the dance. And this is a big exercise always to work with other people. And at the end, it was a very big success. And when I felt that he was a little bit liking me, I proposed him one day one thing that was very wild. There is one dance very famous. It's the Indian dance in this opera, which is very, very famous in these kind of operas. And everybody knows how to sing, and it's very popular. So the chorus of his chorus, because he has his own group of musicians and singers, had to do this song. And I did a little dance for them. And they were in Indians with the pipe. The pipe, we say. So I wanted them to dance, so I put them the pipe in the mouth, and then I taught them to dance like this. But then they couldn't sing because they have the pipe in the mouth. So I thought I would do a joke for the director, when the William Christie, who is very, very serious. And I thought, I'm going to make a joke for him when he comes and I show him the dance. I will tell the singers to put the pipe in the mouth and to sing. And then he will scream, right? And we were laughing a lot and preparing this thing. He came in rehearsal and I told the singers, put the pipe, and then we go like this. I go, and they were, and he loved it so much that we had to keep it for the show. And then it was like a big moment of the show that all the opera singers were singing with this pipe and dancing like chickens. But I just did it like a joke, and then it stayed forever in this piece, which is now in the repertory of the Paris Opera. You know, sometimes you have to be careful when you do a joke. No, I like very much opera. It's,
I would like to ask you if you feel a Spanish woman where in Paris, in New York, do you always feel a Spanish choreographer from Granada, from the south of Spain?
That's a strange question because I mean, I know where I'm born, I know where I come from, but as a woman today, I think that I am made of many things because New York was very important for me. All the years I spent there, I was 17 when I arrived and I was at school. It was years that you are very sensible when you are in this age because you absorb things and you are like plastiline, you are getting molded, no? Then I lived in Morocco also for some years. I lived in Paris since many years. I was also directing the Berlin Opera Ballet. And I travel all the time, and I think I'm made of all this influence. I cannot say I'm a Spanish girl. I don't know what girl, but of course I know I'm born in Granada, and I know my base, and I know that this influenced my life probably very much. But still, every day when you are somewhere, when you are traveling, when you live in another country, you're getting to be some barriers, and I think I am the result of many things actually. something else. Yeah.
What are your preferences as dance creators and choreographers?
Oh, there is many else.
Like top 5.
No, it's difficult because I'm never very much like obsessed with other people. I like to see many things. I like to find out what everybody's doing. I try to go all the time to the theater and as much as I can. But for example, I admire very much Pina Bausch for what she did for dance. I think it's very important because she gave another opening as Martha Graham did at her time. I am very much for people that believe that they can do something different and be themselves. I think in dance this is very important because many people spend all their life trying to be somebody else or trying to have a style or to be, I think in dance what is important is to be yourself and do what you believe is the best for you, and it's very difficult not to let you influence by the fashion of what is good at the time, because in dance there is a lot of modas, I don't know how you say it. So all of a sudden it's this choreographer and everybody wants to do like that, and then everybody wants to be like Pina Bausch, everybody wants to be like this and that. What I admire is when a choreographer comes out and being what he is or what she is totally in a completely different way and go on and arrives to do their own thing. So I like very much Locage, for example. He's a French choreographer that he really creates style of his own, and he's very important now in France. And for me this is the important thing, is to be able to exist as an independent thinker. Thank you. I hope. They never invite me in Portugal. With the dance company.